Hey there, guys. Sean Michael here from WinBeta, and welcome back to episode 40 of the WinBeta podcast for the week of November 11th, 2015. With me is co-host Zach Bowden.
Hello, everyone.
And this week we'll be talking about all sorts of stories. We will get to OneDrive. Don't worry. We have enough storage in this podcast because it doesn't change till next year. Anyway, so we got Windows 10 new builds, RTM related, well, kind of, you know what I mean. More builds, half RTM, because that term has changed. So phone and mobile news, we got Cortana coming to iPhones, gaming news, lots of gaming news this week. Police cars outside, OneDrive being reduced, obviously, and some comments from the Google vice president on Windows 10's design, which, spoiler alert, I think both of us disagree with. So there you go.
Also, in un-Microsoft related news, Twitter hearts.
That's true. We will probably, if we have time, we will talk. Hey, it's kind of Microsoft related because they updated it, and a developer is like all in on Windows.
I guess we can tie it that way. Also,
except Windows Phone on Windows 10 Mobile.
Yeah.
I
well,
think
that's because the Universal App's not out for it yet, but I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate the jump you do when you say from WinBeta?
Well, it has to get more and more. It's going to get old.
So are you going to say eventually you're going to be literally jumping as you say from?
Yeah, it depends how far Ron will let me go.
Yeah, you know what? I think you can push the bat out a little bit with it. See how far we can go.
I'll start doing
Oliver's
star
videos
jumps.
are great. Oliver's videos are just completely relaxed.
WinBeta.
I'm sure we'll let you jump at the beginning of a video if Oliver
could be my thing.
as hilarious as he is in his unboxing videos.
It really, it's your thing. I just took it.
You just stole it from me.
I thought that was like a channel thing.
What's up, yo? Welcome to the build video, whatever this is.
I thought it was like a WinBeta channel thing. Like all WinBeta channel hosts have to introduce videos that way.
Really.
What was that?
You can do your own thing. It's not tied to that. I just did that and it caught on.
Well, there you go.
I might change it. I might shake things up and go, this is a new video. Welcome back to another video.
People will hit that dislike button before it even goes.
That's not the intro dislike. Also, you notice, like, there's loads. I see a few comments like when some of the other staff upload videos, like, I'm only here for Zach or I'm only here for Sean. I'm like, guys, this is a channel full of multiple people. We can do what we want on here. If Oliver or if Sean wants to have their own show where they talk strictly about Windows Phone, they can do that.
I would also point out that it used to be only Zach.
It was only me, which is why I was so shocked.
If someone says I'm only here for Sean, but I wasn't always here.
Yeah. So, the only reason it was only me is because I was the only one that did videos. Nobody else had the need or want to do them, and I was the only one that was doing them. So.
And now I have a better webcam than you for today.
Yes, you do. I'm using the Intel F200, the Intel RealSense camera. Not a great webcam, but an excellent Windows Hello device.
Yeah, so better in some sense, worse in others.
Yeah, sadly the Windows Hello trumps the webcam. You can see me, right? That's the most important thing.
I suppose I can see you.
Yes,
kind of. Anyway, we have news. I guess
we do have news. We should probably jump.
No, we don't have to. We could just banter for like an hour.
That's
that's what the after party is. But if you've never tuned into the after live stream, that's basically what it is.
Yeah, we just banter and talk about it's a relaxed conversation, really. We should make it into its own show. Only because we couldn't do it before because Leah was on the podcast and she would always derail it to other things. But since it's just you and I, we kind of keep it on topic now. So
I guess
maybe we could. Anyway, we should probably talk about this week's news because quite a few things happened this week, as you are probably aware. So let's kick off the news of I wouldn't say the biggest story this week, but kind of the most. I wouldn't even say most important, just,
a story.
Microsoft signed off Threshold 2. Now, this is the update Microsoft has been working on since around Windows 10 RTM back in July, and it's kind of like the leftovers of what was planned for the RTM, just all now in one big update, and it's Threshold 2, and it's supposed to launch this month. We're not saying exact dates now, because nobody knows. It was November 2nd, then it was November 10th, then someone said November 12th. Nobody knows. It's just November. It's coming in November. And yes, it's signed off, meaning Microsoft compiled a build, they tested it, and they said, okay, this build is good enough to go out to the public. So that build is now signed off. And for those who don't know, that's the term signed off used to be a literal sense in which they used to sign on a wall saying that they had done their part for this build or for the code. And they said, yep, I'm signing this. This is my signature to this code that I done it, and etc. etc. I don't think they do that no more, but that was a thing once. So which I think is pretty cool.
And they had someone sit there and do long division to make sure it was divisible by 16.
Yeah, which is
also not a thing anymore.
That divisible by 16 requirement is no longer required, so they can compile any build and say this is it. Really, that's
kind of scary.
But which is pretty good. I mean, that allows more. I mean, that would technically mean they don't need to jump anymore for the RTM. They jump to make space for Redstone, which we're going to talk a little bit about, I think, if we fall into it. But yeah, so Redstone Threshold 2 RTM'd build 10586. The RTM stands for desktop, mobile, and I believe Xbox. I'm not sure they're going to continue compiling on Xbox. I'm pretty sure 586 is for Xbox as well. And so it's like universal code everywhere. It runs on the phone, it runs on your desktop, runs on the Xbox. Build 10586 actually rolled out to insiders for desktops this week. It rolled out yesterday. It's the final build, it's the RTM, much like how the Windows 10 original RTM was rolled out to insiders first. They are rolling out to insiders to test, although I don't understand Microsoft's wording with it, because they seem to be pretending it's not the RTM build. I mean, they are refraining from saying RTM, they're not even saying final build. But it's like, why can't they just turn around and say, this is the build your mother's going to get, test it for us and make sure it's okay for her when it rolls out next week? Can't they just say that? I mean... I don't know why they have to be so, this is just another insider build, keep testing it, we're never done. We know you're kind of done at some point. We know it.
That's true.
It's just like, come on, we're not dumb, we're not silly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, yeah, Condenser says, imagine if they recompiled it at like 10586.5. I mean, that would be a very last minute change if they did that. Yeah. I mean, there's no new features in this build compared to the last public preview build, as it's all bug fixes, but... there you go. It's there. I mean, I've already upgraded my machines to the Threshold 2. Sean's waiting for it to officially roll out, which is probably the most sensible thing to do. As I
asked Twitter, I said, what do I do with preview builds? And they said, don't put it on your primary device. Yes, and I know that this is like not really a preview, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's probably best to wait anyway.
Yeah.
So Threshold 2, exciting. So yeah, the 586 build is Threshold 2. Redstone is a big jump from that build because they do jump to make space. They made the jump for Redstone a while back, and they jumped to build 11,000, which is a fair jump from 10,500. The reason they did that was to give them room. Apparently, they didn't need that much room. Either way, they jumped there, and they are now on. I think they're 1160, something like that. They're around.
I got a question for you, though, Zach.
Yeah. What?
What happens when they run out of room because they don't have any more OneDrive storage? Can they? Because they probably store their builds on the cloud, right? They probably no more builds. They just have to stop once they reach 5 gigabytes worth of builds. No more.
5 gigabytes. That's 1.5 times 64 64-bit builds. So that's not.
Actually, if they were putting builds on the cloud, they were probably one of the biggest offenders of the abuse.
They probably were. To be fair, I don't think they're putting it on OneDrive. Otherwise, we'd know about it. Sorry, I should probably clarify. When I say jump, I don't think they jumped straight to 11,000. I think they jumped to a bit before 11,000. But when I first checked in with it was at 11,000 and whatever else. Right now, like I said, they're around 11,060, and they're still compiling. I did say, I think it was last podcast, that they want to get a Redstone build out before the end of this year. Whether they do or not, nobody knows, because this is Microsoft after all, and they promised edge extensions before the end of the year, and that's not happening now. So much like everything else in this realm, soon in 2016 possibly.
Oh, my soon paper is over there,
it's
Zach.
over there. Soon. That's all we can say over there. Soon. I mean, the Redstone builds, although there is work starting, I mean, they're not spectacular right now.
The only feature I want isn't coming. Like the one most important feature to me was being able to text message from your phone
through the message. And it's not in the Threshold 2 apparently. To be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if they were saving that for Redstone, because when I wrote about the whole continuum improvements and includes beaming stuff, I would imagine it makes sense for that to arrive with that, really.
That's true, but the messaging app is coming with this build.
Yeah, but it's Skype.
But it's half a messaging app. It's a messaging app.
It's ridiculous.
For a service that's used by 200 million people for everything other than messaging.
It is ridiculous. It's
like Skype is for video. Like, I know you message and share file in Skype for business, but like what I wanted was text messaging. But no, they were like, oh, you can do it through Cortana. What am I doing that? So then I can dictate a message through Cortana that says, send a text message. Tell them I'm away from my phone and I'll see them in 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden I can't respond to anything they actually send me?
Yeah.
What does that get me?
It's ridiculous. Also, I need to re-clarify. I do believe they jumped to around 11. It doesn't matter where they jumped. It's just like they jumped.
They jumped higher than I do for the video
right,
intros.
Zach. It was around 11. I imagine it would be 11,000 on the dot, right? I mean, let's be sensible here. Let's jump to somewhere smart. Let's not be silly.
That's a thought.
Either way, yeah, they're compiling builds. It's looking great, really.
Yeah, there you go.
Things are happening. Things be happening. Redstone, a bit more about Redstone. They're still drawing it up. I'll keep saying that. I mean, it's not. They have not spec'd it completely. When they spec it completely, I'm pretty sure somebody will. What are you doing?
I'm drawing it up.
Yeah, that's how it goes. They're at a whiteboard. They're like, right, let's write down. Let's mind map what we should have in it and what we have to put in the second launch and the first launch, whatever else. It's like, yeah. I mean, if I was a Microsoft engineer, I'd be excited.
I wish I was in that meeting. Like, you and I should be in this meeting.
Yeah, we should be flies on the wall. That would be great.
They should just be like, Sean, what do you think should be in this build? And I'm like, text messaging? They were, no.
No, that's Redstone.
2017.
Yeah.
2019.
It is silly.
You know what, Zach?
Go on.
You know what's amazing? These features that get added on pre-existing hardware, and there's just a software update, and then it turns out that what your device could have done all along was much more than what you bought it for.
Yes, just like the slow motion feature.
Yeah, see, look at this segue.
Yeah.
No, you and I were talking about this earlier. Microsoft has kind of this tendency to do this Xbox One Gids Miracast, and you were like, "What? That was in there the whole time, but you didn't have it." And now that has happened again with slow motion video capture on certain high-end phones, including the Lumia 930, Lumia 1520, Lumia Icon. Oh, look at that. The Icon gets supported. Oh, I wonder if that'll actually get updated through or not. Anyway, and then, of course, the 950 and 950 XL, because they're higher end there. So you get slow motion video capture. Apparently, it was a very highly requested feature, and it supports video capture of 120 frames per second in 720. So they have to lower the pixel resolution, but you get very, very high frame rate at 120 frames per second, and that allows you to take slow motion captured video, which is great. I would make the argument that for everyday casual video takers, slow motion is probably more useful than 4K.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How often? I'm not claiming I'd never use a 4K video, but realistically, 1080 is good enough for most situations.
Absolutely.
But slow-mo gives you a new functionality. It's not just higher quality.
Yeah, and it gives you the option to do new things with your camera. Like, you can capture some things in slow motion that you can't capture in just standard motion, I guess. It's
right.
like it's nice to have. I mean, like the iPhone has it, all the modern smartphones have it. So it's nice to see my however old. How old is the 930 now? Like 3 years old, however old, 2 years old.
Yeah,
it's nice to see my 2-year-old smartphone gain that functionality.
Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, it's kind of like you could always do this, but this is through the Windows 10 camera app, which is not the old Lumia.
Yeah, I believe before it was a limitation with the software, which is not to be expected with Microsoft. So they fixed that in Windows 10.
The icon, I'm assuming this is actually it in our article. So you have like switch camera front back, flash on or off, and then the icon for slow motion is a little turtle.
Yes, that's I think that's quite funny.
Like a little turtle doodle. There you go, drawing up things like that. Pretty cute. So I think that's nice. They do this a lot with the Xbox, but it's nice to see where they add features based on already existing hardware.
Yes.
But it's nice to see them do it on phones as well. So hopefully we can see that. I would love Continuum in terms of not screen mirroring, or screen mirroring. I hope that they can figure that out, where instead of the multitasking, maybe they could do Continuum through screen mirroring or something. But
yeah, I don't think that's in the initial Windows 10 mobile launch.
Soon.
Soon, yeah, if ever, with that one, because they did say they were thinking about it more than... They said it was a challenge, but I mean, whether they do or not is another story. And it would only be on the 9:30 and the 15:20. I doubt it would come to like the 7 or 8:30. Oh, we've lost Sean. Guess what? We're going to keep going on to other things. Sean, are you there?
I'm here now.
You're there now. You know what? We're just going to keep steaming, rolling on.
You're going to have to do some editing, I guess. Have fun with that.
That's fine. We can keep that.
Sorry about that, my friend.
Cortana. Let's talk about Cortana.
Cortana. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Let's
go
talk
ahead,
about
my
the
friend.
fact that Cortana is now cheating on us a third time with iOS this time. Microsoft opened up the beta, applications, I guess, for Cortana on iOS. They haven't really said much other than the fact that they're accepting applications now. So, yes, if you're an iPhone user and you want to try out Cortana, sign up, and you should eventually get a link to download. Microsoft says, what does it say? Yeah, Microsoft has issued a call for Windows insiders to join a new beta program that puts Cortana on iOS. And they've said, your life is not limited to one device, and neither is your digital assistant. Cortana is with you on your Windows 10 PC, tablet, and phone, helping you wherever you are and whenever you need it. But we also know that there's a choice of mobile devices out there. So we want help from our Windows insiders.
Is this such a PC letter?
A great personal assistant on iOS too. So basically, if you were following WinBeta back in December last year, or January, one of the two, I wrote an article saying Microsoft is bringing Cortana to everything. And the reason they're doing this is because Windows 10 is a universal operating system, and Microsoft wants everybody on Windows 10, regardless of what other devices they own, whether it's a Android, an iOS, BlackBerry's a bit different, but, the main ones. So they will be bringing her to iOS, Android, Xbox as well. She is coming to Xbox. I did say she'd be coming to Xbox. They want her everywhere. So the idea is you have Cortana on your desktop, then you leave your desktop, you go to work, and Cortana's on your phone. Doesn't matter what phone you've got, Cortana's there, and she has the same reminders, same notes, same everything. She syncs him everywhere. Then the same on the Xbox. You'll be on the Xbox and she'll tell you that there's a reminder, and etc, 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 whatever else. That's kind of the idea of it. She follows you everywhere. Like a real personal assistant will call you up and say, hey, you've got an appointment at this time, no matter where you are. Cortana just does that for you as well. It's pretty great. I think the idea is good.
It's a great idea. Do you think people actually use her?
Well, they don't advertise her enough on Windows 10. She just sort of sits there. I mean, like I said, I think it was last podcast, I've seen people upgrade to Windows 10. I've seen laptops in the wild running Windows 10. None of them have Cortana set up. They just have the search function, which is not great.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just going to sit there and say, oh, why would I use Cortana? I have Siri. Why would I use Cortana? I have Google Now.
And then you say, because your Windows 10 PC has Cortana.
Right, but like I said, I don't know if that, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, is that actually going to work? Is that actually,
well, we don't know,
I'm not saying it doesn't create
hasn't
functionality.
really began pushing the features within Windows 10. I mean, the only advertisements I've seen for Windows 10 on the TV, at least, are just the ones that there's, saying Windows 10's out and here's a baby pushing its face against the window. They're not like, yeah, this is Windows 10, it can do Cortana. And they show Cortana and they say how it's on the phone. I mean, they haven't had an ad that syncs Windows 10 Mobile with the desktop, with the Xbox, and then they also add, oh, hey, and your iPhone works, and your Android works.
I'm telling you, Zach, and we've talked about it before, the way you advertise Windows 10, start menu, flip, start menu, flip, from all the different devices.
And then it adds it to the iPhone and Android.
Do that with Cortana. You have Cortana, and you just film a guy or a girl, obviously, and you on your desktop, and you're like, blue, blue, set a reminder. When I talk to so-and-so, do this and that. And then they're walking around, and then they're on like their Surface, and they're on the go, and it's like, do, 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 do. And then all of a sudden they're on their iPhone, and it's like, hey, remember to talk to so-and-so. And everyone will be like, oh, that's what it does. It's like, oh, no. Now babies are living in a world without passwords, which, by the way, is awesome.
It is.
But it doesn't advertise Cortana.
Yeah, it doesn't advertise the the better features, because Windows Hello is kind of for a niche audience right now. It's like, because nobody has a Windows Hello device. I mean, the Windows Hello devices are only just coming out. There's no real Windows Hello webcams out there yet, and all that good stuff. So I mean, the majority of 120-something million users who are running Windows 10, a very small amount have Windows Hello, and they advertise that first, which is silly.
I will say, I think we're actually starting to see just a little bit, of the market share numbers of Windows 10 actually making a difference.
Yeah.
You're starting to see more universal apps like Fitbit and them. They've always supported Windows, but now it's even more, even things like actionable notifications, but also things like BBC and Sky. And like you're seeing more people be interested in either making or further developing their Windows apps. And I think that is in large part because of the massive user base. There's some apps that'll just never come, and we've talked about that before. But I think, if you're the BBC or you're a broadcast company and you realize it's hundreds of millions of people that can use your app, Netflix did. Netflix, apparently more people use the Netflix app than Netflix on the web on Windows 10 devices. You might say, why? You could just go into a browser on your computer. But that's what's happening. So Windows 10 is getting some pull. They need to use that to get these other features sold, Cortana. And then when you have features like, hey, you already have Windows, their whole ad campaign for Windows Phone next year could just be something along the lines of, you already have Windows 10 on your PC. Look what else it could do if you also had a Windows Phone. And then all of a sudden you get all these other features like texting through your computer. And that could be their whole ad campaign. It's 300 million people already have Windows 10 on their main device. If you have a Windows Phone, look what else you get. But they got to do that, or it's not going to pick up anything else.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And the whole SMS from the desktop thing, they could also incorporate that with Android, because Android allows you to replace the SMS app, unlike iOS. So you could essentially have the same messaging app on Windows Phone, desktop, and Android if users are willing to switch out their texting app. And what I could see Microsoft doing here is Microsoft approaching Android smartphone makers like Samsung, HTC, and going, right, instead of running Windows 10 Mobile, you can run your Android, but on your Android, your Android ROM, whatever it is, you have our apps instead of Google apps. So you have the our messaging app as the default SMS app, our personal assistant as the default assistant, our Office as the default editing suite already pre-installed, ready to go. They've kind of sort of done this already with some Samsung devices with Office, but they could expand this. And
theoretically,
and they could take over services on other third-party devices that aren't purely Microsoft platform, and win the world. I mean, iOS obviously is always going to be an anomaly because Apple is so closed-walled about it. Microsoft could say to Apple, "Hey, can we have an app that replaces the message?" No, never going to happen. But Android's a more open platform.
I think iOS might be so close. Sometimes I think we've talked about this before. I want Android to grab a feature just because, and I really want Apple to grab features because then if it's something that's already on Windows Phone, it'll get supported by more stores and locations. So like Apple Pay brought more NFC payment enabled devices to new locations, but that helps like Samsung Pay users, right?
Yeah.
So I want some of these, but I'm nervous with Apple sometimes. I'm like, I would love it. Like if iPhone brought in wireless charging, all of a sudden every McDonald's in the world would have a wireless charging table. But I'd be so nervous that they'd make their own wireless charging instead of key charging.
Yeah.
So you get but yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. And they already do that where they get apps and put them on other systems. But I think they should do what you're saying, where they really get people to use it even more.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, Microsoft, you've heard of our ideas. Hire us. Do it.
I'm telling you, man, we have some good ideas.
We are the best marketing team you will ever have.
Somebody, until we talk about OneDrive, then don't use our thoughts.
In which case, fire us immediately. or hire us to fix OneDrive.
Exactly. I'll fix OneDrive in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
In any event. What was I going to say? Oh, someone in the comments said 95% of people on Windows 10 probably don't even know what Cortana is. Yeah,
true.
That's probably true.
See, this is
Go watch my video, folks.
They've got to advertise better. They're not doing it very well.
Yeah.
I mean, although to be fair, once people are on Windows 10, Microsoft has you, so they can take their time. I mean, they shouldn't take their time, but I mean, taking their time to get information out about what your sort of system can do is it's the thing that they're going to do. Like, just like the whole slow motion thing, although that was a feature added thing that we couldn't do before, imagine being like a normal person and seeing an add-on one day going, your Windows 10 PC can do this, and you go, oh really? And then you try it and go, oh yes it can, and you're like, oh, that's a new feature. It's just like,
Yeah, no, I agree. It's advertising, it's marketing, it's that sort of thing. That's never been their strong point. They seem to be getting better at it though. So They're better now than they were before.
Yes.
I know we got to move on, but can I I have one more ad idea for Microsoft. I may have talked about this before. You know the I'm a Mac, I'm a PC campaigns?
Yeah.
You hire the same two guys, but the Apple guy is like stuck in the past, and the Windows 10 guy is doing a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah, but could they do that advert? Because it was kind of Apple's thing. Did they like... I don't know, maybe they could. But I mean, then it's...
You can do I'm a Mac,
Apple.
I'm PC, and you hire the same dudes, but now Hodgins is like awesome. And he's like, yeah, I got the fastest browser. I can text message through my through the computer. I can... And then be like, oh, we can do that too. And you're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but 90% of the world uses us.
Yeah, no, yeah, it would be a good idea, but I don't think Microsoft has the guts to do it. And the people would just be like, oh, they're copying Apple. You know, have you seen that whole HTC copying Apple propaganda thing?
No,
Their new phone looks like the iPhone 6. What people don't realise is that the iPhone 6 copied HTC's original design. So now HTC come out with a follow-up to their old phone. Everyone's like, oh, they've copied the iPhone. And they're not letting this, people aren't letting this go. Like The Verge wrote it. All these big sites wrote it. And it's like, are you serious? This phone had the design first. I mean, you know, it's not even the best design in the world. It's kind of ugly, to be fair. But people are like, Apple people are crazy. Like HTC keeps copying, and now they're like, their adverts are copying Apple. It's like, guys, calm down. This is being ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Except when Apple copies Microsoft, then we're allowed to complain.
And then no, even then, when Apple copies Microsoft, everyone goes, yeah, it's fine. I mean, of course they would. Apple needs
not on this podcast. Go look back a few episodes, my friends.
But people are. It's just crazy. I hate this world.
Yeah. No, Zach. Sometimes you're surrounded by wonderful people and you love them, and other times you just go, I'm surrounded by idiots.
Yes.
And, you just surround that's how the world is.
And to relax, I play a little bit of Halo.
Exactly. Or a lot of Halo.
Oh, a lot of Halo, that's good.
A lot of people actually did play Halo. I have some interesting stats about that. But first off, did you know that $400 million were made during the Halo 5 launch week?
That's pretty impressive. I believe it's the most popular Halo.
It's the most for Halo. It's not the most for I don't think it's the most for like any video game ever. But it is. I'm not positive. I don't know those stats, but it is the most for a Halo game.
Right, I'm gonna try and find out what Call of Duty.
I'll rack off some other stats about this. So obviously Halo 5 launched. Zach, have you beat Legendary yet?
No, not Legendary. I've done it on Heroic.
All right. Well, I guess that's okay. Still a slacker. Anyway, so let's get some final stats here, because obviously 400 million is a lot of money. Blah blah. That brings up the total to 5 billion for Halo there. Let me get some other stats here. 21 million hours of total gameplay to date. 12 million of which is in the campaign mode. 7 million multiplayer matches have been played, with more than 45 million REQ packs acquired, or probably rec packs. There you go. So yeah, these total Halo stats, and then obviously the individual Halo 5 stats, very, very impressive in my opinion. And you know what? We say Microsoft isn't great at marketing because obviously they have struggled in some areas. But with Halo, not one of the areas they struggled.
Oh, but they were vigorous with the Halo marketing. They had adverts everywhere. They were throwing codes out to reviewers left, right, center. Don't matter if you was a reviewer, you could just be someone playing a game. They were sending people codes. It was crazy. Everyone was doing Let's Plays early, and everything. It was a crazy time. And
they had podcasts, and they had audio campaigns. They had, how did they get the realistic gun sound videos? And they had, also, and then they had this ad campaign about Spartan Locke and Master Chief. And, it looked great. And it was everywhere. They're making people in England stay up until midnight to watch halftime of American football games. No, wait, that was Star Wars. But in any event, they shoved the trailer somewhere. People see it, I'm sure. And it's yeah. So it's pretty cool. Sorry for mixing those up there. Big time trailers, two different franchises.
I'm pretty sure. I just saw. I don't know if it was for the launch week. Was it launch weekend or launch week for Halo?
I think it's launch week.
Launch week. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Call of Duty did $1 billion, and so did GTA 5.
First week launch is what our headline is.
Yeah. So I mean, 400 million isn't fan bloody tastic, but I mean it's better than. I mean, it's the best Halo yet. And of course, you've got to remember, Halo is an exclusive game available on one platform. It was Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto 5 games that were on more than one console. Multiple consoles.
How do you think 400 million ranks against platform exclusives overall?
Well, if you, I mean, this is a rough average, obviously, but double it. So 800 million, which isn't bad.
Pretty good.
For PlayStation 4. And if it was on PC, I don't know, 200 million more, 300 million more. I don't know how PC ranks up.
Someday it'll come to PC, but it won't be this day.
Yeah.
Sad. Oh, well.
Very sad.
Yeah, there you go.
We should talk about some new experiences coming to Xbox One.
We should, because that comes
Was that
next
announced this week or last week?
I'm going to double check last week's thing. Nope, we already talked about this. Move on.
Well, just in case you didn't know, the new Xbox One experience launches November 12th. Move on.
Sorry about that. Sometimes when I go through, I guess I made a mistake. It's my fault, guys. Yeah, so let me jump down here for a second. All right, so skipping on past that, 28% of Steam users are on Windows 10. Now, I feel like we've already done a story like this before a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to keep climbing, right?
But 28's pretty good. You know, that's over a fourth, not quite a third. It's pretty good. The number one is still Windows 7, which is at 47%. And most people seem to think that's because of DX12, which that makes sense. You know, DirectX 12, you know, whatever. So there's that. Steam's going to be better on that. I'm not a PC gamer myself, but I know that people really care about certain upgrades, but they're also big fans of different aspects and, you know, that sort of thing. So when it comes to Steam, it's great that it's at 21% if you're Microsoft. I think at some point in time it'll pass Windows 7, but that's a pretty respectable number, saying it's only been, 3 months since launch?
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Like I said last week, 120 million installs, which is also pretty great 3 months after launch.
You know what they still can't play, though?
What?
Arkham Knight.
What?
Isn't the new Batman game still...
Oh, it's still broken, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't play PC games that often.
Don't let somebody else develop your games. There's a lesson in that, right?
Yeah. That is someone else port it, at least.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
you know what, Sean?
Yeah?
It's time.
Is it time? Well, we got about 20 minutes, so...
It's time. Well, I mean, this might take a while. It's time to talk about Microsoft's OneDrive decisions.
All right, I'm going to wait. I will wait. You go nuts first, and then I'll go nuts second.
So, if you've been living under a rock for the past week, you probably won't know that Microsoft is taking away all of your OneDrive storage. They are resetting OneDrive back to 5 GB for free users, and unlimited storage is going away. So no more unlimited storage for Office 365 Home, Personal or University subscribers. Starting now, those subscriptions will include 1 TB of OneDrive storage, which isn't, the worst, but it's not unlimited, right? 100 GB and 200 GB paid plans are going away as an option for new users and will be replaced with 50 GB plans for $199 per month in early 2016, which is stupid, to be fair. Free OneDrive storage will decrease from 15 GB to 5 GB for all users, current and new users. So that's if you was a user on SkyDrive, you're getting 5 GB, I believe. Because SkyDrive for 25. I don't know if SkyDrive users are out of the picture. I think, why wouldn't they be? Pretty sure they're in as well. The 15 GB camera roll storage bonus will also be discontinued. So if you're a Lumia user, or if you're someone who hooks up their phone to auto upload to OneDrive, you don't get an extra 15 GB. If your camera takes 20 megapixel photos, you're only getting about 1,700 photos on your OneDrive account before you're in trouble. It's ridiculous. If you're an Office 365 consumer subscriber and have stored in excess of 1 TB, you will be notified of this change and will be able to keep your increased storage for at least 12 months. If you're an Office 365 consumer and find that Office 365 no longer meets your needs, a prorated refund will be given. If you're using more than 5 GB of free storage, you will continue to have access to all your files for at least 12 months after the release, after these changes go into effect in early 2016. In addition, you can redeem a free 1-year Office 365 personal subscription, which includes 1 TB of OneDrive storage. Current customers of standalone OneDrive storage plans such as 100 or 200 GB plans are not affected by these changes. It's a ridiculous shambles. The whole internet flipped out about this, and rightly so. They're taking away something they promised us. Unlimited storage was great, although I never actually found to have unlimited storage. I've always only had 1 TB with my subscription, so this doesn't really affect me, but I can understand people who did have the unlimited and who are actually taking advantage of it in a good way. Microsoft's reasoning for taking all this stuff away is that people were using the service, or abusing the service pretty much, saying they were storing movies and huge files on their servers and whatever else. Which, if you're if you're promoting your service as somewhere you can back up your files, why are you surprised by this? I know loads of people who would back up their movies and music and videos to OneDrive. Why not? It's off your computer. It's somewhere that you can sign into. I mean, it's not It's not like sensitive data. It's just movies and stuff. You can put that away. I mean, sure, OneDrive can have that. Microsoft can peek in if they need to, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think they're allowed to do that. But NSA, whatever, people would do that. Microsoft was advertising OneDrive as a backup solution for many things. People took advantage of that, and then Microsoft kind of went, yeah, you've done that too much, so we're taking that away, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's absurd. Did you see my pantomime, Zach? Or were you?
I did. I saw you in the corner there.
You just like enthralled, just rage. No, it's ridiculous. I might get into. Let me rant, and then we might talk about why this happened here. But I just want to go a few things, accentuate a few of your points here. Unlimited means unlimited. It means without limits. So you can't say unlimited storage and then say, hey, wait a second, you're using a lot of storage. It's unlimited. That's what it means by definition. Second of all, if it was only about the people using 75 terabytes of memory for all their movies and whatever, why am I, the free user, affected? Are my few gigs worth of photos and whatever else, is that a really big deal to them? Are they really hurt if I use 10 extra gigs of stuff compared to, Joe Schmo over there who's storing, every season of Doctor Who over on his OneDrive? Well, yeah, he's ruining it for the rest of us because he's got enough space, but not enough time. Yeah, Doctor. But anyway, why am I affected? And then they don't even bother like giving you the actual answer, because I think most of us think this is what it really is. They want to make money, and they realize that 15 gigs was enough for most people to just be happy using only free storage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think it is. I think it's, I can't prove it. This is all just my speculation, but I haven't hit 15 gigs yet, but I am over 5. And I store my photos and, different various things on there. And, I use Groove Music. Groove Music, it's through OneDrive. They used to advertise, and they probably still will. Groove Music uses OneDrive. You put it in OneDrive, you can stream it anywhere. That's like an advertising point of their music service. Yeah, except for the fact that you actually have lots of music.
Well,
I'm not a huge music guy. The 1.4 in music is like, well, actually, I don't know what I have in music, but like that's not a lot. You know what I mean? Like you could easily get 6 gigabytes of just music, right?
The OneDrive subscription does add 100 gigabytes.
What was that?
The OneDrive subscription does add 100 gigabytes to your account, regardless, and that's still in effect. So if you're a if you're a Groove Music subscriber, you get 100 gigabytes.
So wait, they give you a bonus for Groove Music, but they took away the bonus for Camera Roll?
Well, Camera Roll, I mean, you're not paying for a Camera Roll bonus. You're paying for Groove Music.
Oh, you mean paid Groove Music?
Yes, subscription,
Oh, okay.
not the free streaming.
Not free. Okay. See, that's what I mean. They want you to pay.
Of course.
That's what it is.
I mean, they want to make money, right? And also, I believe Microsoft will originally, they assumed that other services would be like, oh yeah, unlimited as well. We're doing unlimited here as well, so people will kind of span out a bit. But no one did it, and everyone's. I mean, Dropbox still offers 5 gigabyte free, which is ridiculous. And Microsoft. It's funny because Microsoft's OneDrive service went from the best cloud storage you can have out there to literally the very bottom of the pile in one day. It's ridiculous. It's really.
I don't look. I mean, to go from, and I don't agree with this, but to look at it from Microsoft's perspective, I know that they want to make money. But you can't advertise unlimited you say, oh, they have a terabyte or they have 100 gigs. We get unlimited. And then take it away without backlash because you sold as an advertising point unlimited storage. But then they took it away.
You're right.
And then, so you can't do that. You can't, without ramifications, you can't do that. This Camera Roll, you get this bonus for uploading. Well, yeah, except you don't anymore. You can't expect there not to be a backlash. I know you want money, And I get that you want money, but how about grandfather it in or something? You say new users or so. I don't know. You can't do this without expecting some sort of backlash. It just doesn't make any sense. Not to mention the things like unlimited means unlimited. So why are you upset for people using unlimited storage? If you wanted a really high limit, then instead of saying unlimited, you should have said like 25 terabytes.
No,
right?
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, would people have been that upset if when you saw, you only get 1 terabyte there, we'll give you 25. I mean, that's still a giant amount of cloud storage. So I don't understand why they're, I hope no one at Microsoft is surprised. There's change.org petitions for this. We have a poll on this. This is going to affect how many people use OneDrive. And Microsoft best be aware of that, because there's no way in the world that there's a million cloud storages out there. And especially if you don't care about direct integration with your operating system, there are now better cloud storage things out there, right?
Absolutely. Yep, 100%.
Certainly for free users. There are better alternatives unless you care about direct OS integration. So I just don't see why this wasn't like, and then they just shove it out there as if it's just like a casual thing. There wasn't like an apology or anything like that, because they can't do that. They can't apologize for doing this. Some sort of big like note of like, we're sorry we overpromised and we failed to deliver or anything. I mean, was there anything like that?
No, there was no apology. They just said, we're making changes. We understand
we're making changes,
etc. We understand the inconveniences this will cause, whatever else. But like, I'm looking at my OneDrive now. I have 1.22 terabytes. I use about 20 gigabytes, and most of that's photos and video. I'm not going to be affected by these changes. I have a OneDrive. I have a Microsoft Office subscription, which adds a terabyte, and I have that 200 gigabytes. I don't know where that comes from, but if I lose that extra 200 gigabytes, I will live. I will not fill up a terabyte on OneDrive. I don't use it to back up everything. I use it for Office documents, which is what they kind of want in the first place, and photos. That's all I use it for. So I technically won't be affected by these changes, but I know that people who will be, and that's the people it hits.
I mean, like I said, I understand why they're doing it. They want to make money. Apparently there are some other arguments, which I haven't looked too much into, but maybe they have some merit as well. But I just, bait and switch is what comes to mind. That's the phrase that people use.
And it's like, okay, so what about your Windows 10 for free for the life of the device promise? That was a promise you made. What happens in 10 years down the line? You say, oh, there's an update here. You have to pay money for it.
Yeah, trust is easy to lose and hard to gain, and things happen, mistakes happen, and sometimes those can be forgiven. But this wasn't like, oh, there's accidentally a bug and we missed it. This is just bait and switch. You advertise something and then you take it away.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why you can. Not to mention, just as like a person, why you think that's okay. I can understand that you want to make money, but do it for only new users or something, or I don't know what you would do, but you just can't do this and then expect people to just be cool with it. No. So, I don't know. That's my Steam vented. Do you have any extra Steam to vent? Because I got polls too.
Everything I've said has been said.
Yeah. All right, let me get into the polls here. Again, this is a high voting poll, as you would expect. So my questions there's two-parter. One, will the changes to OneDrive make you switch to another cloud storage service? So we had over 2,100 votes. 55% said yes. 55%.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised.
And then I asked, if you are switching away from OneDrive, what service will you use? And 46% said Google Drive, 32% said Dropbox, and 22% said other, and then they could specify in the comments. And that was over 1,400 votes there. So here's the thing for me. Our polls aren't infallible. We're a very Microsoft-centric site. But Zach, this was the same website, our website, where 41% of pollers already use Edge as their primary browser.
Of course, yeah.
So this is a pretty Microsoft-centric website. This isn't like, they hate Microsoft or something like 41% of people that voted on last week's poll on do you already use or when we use Edge as your primary browser already use it. So they're in on board on Edge, even though it's not finished. I'm not guaranteeing it's the same people, but it is a pool from the same website, and it's 55% are jumping ship to something else. And I want that. I want them to change it back, or I don't think they will though. I don't know. Do they ever respond to this sort of thing?
The only other time I remember Microsoft doing a back, reverting their plans and whatever else is with the Xbox One. Now, if you don't know about the Xbox One launch, Microsoft originally announced the Xbox One as an entertainment device more than a gaming console. So, in their initial Xbox One launch event, they said, "Hey, this is what the Xbox One can do. It can do TV, movies, music, and games." Was like a 2-minute thing in the entire conference. It was always online, meaning you had to log in once every 24 hours, and games couldn't be traded if they were. Games couldn't be traded. They were installed straight to the hard drive, and that was your disc, whatever else. But then there were some benefits to it, which apparently Microsoft didn't communicate well. They didn't communicate well with the whole thing, and backlash ensued. Gamers were unhappy, and the overall result was Microsoft said, "Okay, we're going to change our plans. We're going to make the Xbox One more like the Xbox 360. You can share discs. There won't be a full always online thing." And it kind of ruined the good features that were coming, such as the ability to share your digital games with friends, which would have been epic, but that's gone because of the licensing issues that the gamers were not happy with the whole online thing. But with the OneDrive thing, again, it's bad communication for starters because they didn't even explain properly what the initial plan was. But there's also no benefit to it, really. Yeah. You're losing storage. There's no benefit to that.
Yeah, I also want to say this. All this ranting aside, does it really hurt Microsoft? In terms of they didn't say 2 reasons. Did they? I mean, I haven't read every single thing that anyone has ever said about this. I'm not claiming it, but as far as I know, they didn't come out and say the reason we discontinued Unlimited is because of some abusers, and the reason we're shortening this is because we want to increase Office 365 subscriptions. Is that how they phrased it?
They said they want to refocus OneDrive as a productivity component. So
OneDrive's pretty productive for me.
Yeah.
It didn't make it any more or less. It makes it less productive because I can't put everything on there without paying you. How does this increase productivity? It decreases productivity.
No, you're right. You're entirely right. It's a ridiculous situation.
If they wanted to come out and say this is another one of those tough decisions, we're trying to monetize the cloud storage marketplace, and this is a way that we have to do it. We sincerely apologize, but this isn't we're losing money, or this isn't making the profits that we needed to. But there was none of that. They abused it. We're making it more productive. Oh, by the way, this thing that has nothing to do with abuse or productivity is also changing. It's just nonsense. I don't understand it.
No, yes, it's ridiculous. But as this is Microsoft, the only thing you can say at this point is, oh well.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Well, that feels better. All right, we got one more thing to talk about, and then we got rapid fire.
Yes.
The Google vice president thinks Windows 10 looks like XP flat design. What do you think?
Well, this guy is dumb. This guy was trying to cause a problem, and he did cause a problem. This is a Microsoft Google designer, right? He designs stuff at Google, which is laughable to say the least. And he was Windows 10, more like Windows 10 years ago, which was I thought ridiculous for starters. And he complains about it being the same as Windows XP, which Windows 10 kind of the point of being the same as its older things, because Windows 8, they tried that in Windows 8, it failed. And then he came out after and said, oh yeah, I liked Windows 8. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you was one of those people who liked Windows 8.
Yeah, there's only one problem, Zach. He's the vice president of a company with the competing operating system.
Which also has worse software.
Yeah, I'd also point out, does Android look that different than it did when it first came out?
Android 2.2 and Android 6, exactly the same.
I know there are probably differences that people could come back to me with, but if you're going to oversimplify it and say the fact that Microsoft still has a start menu and jump lists, and so that makes it the same, then Android's the same too. You can't come back and say, oh, look at all these other features on Android, because if you're oversimplifying Windows 10, we have to oversimplify yours as well, which means you have to compare them fairly. You can't compare your best to their worst. That's not even. So if you're doing worst to worst or best to best, that's fine. Either one of those arguments, I don't think he's got a lot of merit to it. Also, my friend, you picked the wrong topic to be on this podcast right after, because we're still scathing from the OneDrive scandal. So you could ask me about anything. You'd be like, this man just donated food to the poor. And you'd be like, yeah, well, how much food? Probably only 5 gigabytes.
But so wait, I've got a picture of Android. I think this is 5 or 6, whatever. This is one of the most recent versions of Android. Yeah, I don't think you can say that, but the viewers can see that. That's the most recent version of Android. Now let's pull up. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Let's pull up a picture of Android 2.2. Look at the similarities. They are pretty much the goddamn same. They're the same thing, exactly the same. It's ridiculous. And this guy who I imagine designed all this or helps design it all goes, you know what? Windows 10 looks the same as it did 10 years ago. Guess what Android looks like? It looked like 10 years ago, or however many years ago this was, or 5 years ago at this point. Android 2.2, which was a piece of... It was terrible. It's like,
Microsoft tried to get rid of the things that in Windows 8, and people didn't like it.
I know. Yeah, exactly. It's like this guy has no idea what he's talking about.
Like I said, he picked the wrong topic to be on the show after. I'm just seeing it now. You're right. Yeah, they do look pretty much the same.
They're the same thing. It's dumb. Stupid.
Rapid fire. I have good news. Twitter hearts.
Condenser says, you don't change something that works. Windows XP worked. Windows 10 works just the same. Why is this guy complaining?
Is he disagreeing or agreeing?
No, I don't know what he's just stating that you don't change.
I think he's right, though. I mean,
then that contradicts what this guy was saying.
People like, people like the start menu. They tried to leave it, and then people didn't like it. So then they changed back. I mean, that makes sense. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we got a whole after party to rave about this, Zach, but we only have a few minutes before the end of this show.
Yes, it's about Twitter hearts.
Twitter hearts. We can end with Twitter hearts because that's more important.
Yes.
They so I guess a little background. If you're not a big Twitter guy or Twitter girl, they instead of little star, instead of little, whatever. How did I just star in the air there? Well, that's complicated. Anyway, instead of little Twitter star, you now get a little Twitter heart.
Oh, a little tiny heart, which Twitter
and they also changed the term, right? They switched it from fave to like.
Yeah, so now I like things on Twitter instead of Facebook.
Yeah, you used to favorite things. Now you like things. Well, what if I don't like it? What if I'm favoriting it?
It's ridiculous. It's like, what was the point in this change? I don't know. They've changed it. People weren't happy, but it's a love heart. Yeah, I mean, nobody.
Well, you know who probably likes it?
Who does?
You know who probably likes it?
Who?
Vice President of Google, because he's a big fan of changes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even though
he doesn't like
a product that's been the same since forever.
I don't honestly.
Chrome's not changed at all. Chrome looks the same since it launched. There's nothing different.
I honestly don't care much about the heart versus star thing. It created some good Lucky Charms related humor, and it kind of took over Twitter for a while. I think it's great though that Windows is now actually up to date. So the same day that Hearts was changed, it was changed on the Windows 10 app. Right?
Yeah.
Same day.
Yeah.
Well, that's great to have a developer that size do that the same day. It wasn't like a month or 2 months later. Like we said, the Windows Phone hasn't, but that's because it's not the universal one yet, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that'll change too, and but they support it now. It's great to have some of these developers supporting Windows 10. So there's a plus side of that, and a Windows angle to this whole Hearts versus Stars story.
Right.
Yeah. Oof. That was a little. Oh, that feels better. You get that out there.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything else, Zach, before we wrap up?
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right. Well, this has been the WinBeta podcast, episode 40. For the week, we've done 40 of these. For the week of, and that's a lot. For the week of November 6th, 2015. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Sean Michael. You can find me on Twitter at Sean_Michael_UK. And you can find Zach on Twitter at
ZachB_.
Well, there you go. And you can find WinBeta on Twitter at WinBeta.org. We're on Google+, which has their UI changed? Probably has. Anyway, we're on Google+. We have, what are we on? Facebook, Twitter, all sorts of stuff. Make sure to follow us. And there's that. All right, thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you on the next one.